Class. Today we're still talking about submission, the overall theme of submission. However, the we on Ephesians chapter 6 verse 1, which says that children obey your parents because this is right. So I'm going to read. Let me just open. Let me open the. Let me just read the verse directly. It says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." So, over the last few weeks, we've been talking about the need to, that in the Lord means that the obedience to the parent is not without limit. It's not, we need to recognize that some parents can ask the child to commit sin. And so that is why we have the phrase, children obey your parents in the Lord. It's and that the children being described here are not spiritual children, they are natural children, because the whole frame of this long passage from Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 15 to Ephesians chapter 6 verse 9, the whole the individuals mentioned there, the wife, the husband, the children, the uh, parent, the slave, the master, all these descriptions, these uh, kinds of people are within the household. They are within the household. So we're saying that one, this is not spiritual parents. Two, there is a limit to that obedience. That is why the phrase "shouldn't obey your parents in the Lord" was put there. But we're still going to camp on this verse. The last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, I said the focus was um, I spoke on divorce and I said that was a sad day. Last week I spoke on obedience and I said that was a boring day because this is talking about obedience like you're talking about foundation. We can't really go on to any other thing without the foundation of obedience to God laid in our heart, in our lives. But today, I'm putting today and I'm describing today as the feeling I'm using to describe today is not sadness, like the what I spoke about when I spoke about divorce. It's not boredom, like when I was talking about obedience. It's motivation. Because today we're talking about the topic. The overall theme here is motivation. Uh, so when you look at Ephesians 6:1, one thing that will strike your mind is that we have a phrase there that says, "For this is right." That tells you, why should I obey my parents? Because this is right. But I'm using the opportunity to talk about a larger theme here, larger theme of why why do we do what we do? Not just do something, but why are you doing it? And here in this verse, we are told the reason the children should obey the parents in the Lord is because it is right. And it seems like it is right. Are you not going to tell me to obey because it feels good? Are you not going to tell me that it's to do the right, to obey because I want to gain something by obeying? Are you not going to tell me that I should do the right thing because people are looking at me and they will have a good impression of me if I do the right thing? All these are the various ways in which we, like, human beings will will give as reasons for obedience. People are looking at me, so I want them to have a good impression of me. I want people. I feel this is how I feel, and that's how, because I feel that way, I need to act this way. People will say, "Oh, there's gonna be people are looking at me. There's going to be reward." Uh, and these are all reasons why people do what they do, because of something to gain. But this is the word of God: do the right thing because it is the right thing. So that's what we want to explore today. why we do why what should be the reason why we do the right thing. What should be the reason why we obey God? Because remember the last time we were talking about obeying God. Now, because we're expanding the verse from just talking about obeying children obeying your parents to now see it as covering a larger theme of Christians being obedient to God. The larger theme of children, Christians being obedient to God. So we're going to read a few passage to help us to begin to strengthen us when it comes to why we do what we do, because it's so important. Because if you don't really know if you don't have a rock solid motivation, then you're gonna be easily tossed to and fro by the wind. When you are not rooted and grounded in the right kind of motivation, if this is not established in your life, established in your heart, established in your mind, that why you should do what is right, then you can be convinced otherwise. You know, then you like the serpent can come to you like the Eve and say, "Oh, don't do that thing that God wants you to do. Do this other thing." Because you why what did the serpent tell Eve? Serpent told Eve, "Look, you have something to gain more than obeying God. Disobey God because you have something to gain." So he was motivating Eve by something that she will gain. Even though that was a lie, that was not true. It ended up in bitterness and darkness. But she was shaking away from the line she was on, the line of obedience to God, because there wasn't a rock solid understanding of why you should even do what is right. Why is it why what is the reason, what is the basis of your right action? That's why you do the right thing today and you're not going to do the right thing tomorrow, because there are all manner of influences that the enemy will set around you to move you away from the truth. But you need to be rock solid um, in your motivation, in why you do what you do. You need to remind yourself why you do what you do. We are meant to submit ourselves to God and resist the devil, and he flee from us. But because the devil comes in all manner of subtle ways, and we are told to raise up the shield of faith, by which we will quench all the fiery darts of the enemy. But the point I'm making is that we a way to help us to be solid, to be rock solid, because the wind will blow in one direction or another direction. Jesus Christ said it in Matthew chapter 7, talking about a house that is built on a rock versus a house that is built on the sand. So there are two kinds of houses. One has a solid foundation, the other one doesn't have a solid foundation. And so the things happen, circumstance of life will come up, and then you are moved from your conviction. You are moved from the right part, from the right part of obedience to God, because of a lack of being grounded in why you should do what you should do. And so that's what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about motivation. And the Ephesians chapter 6 verse 1 talks about children, obey your parents in the Lord. And there is a last phrase on that verse, for this is right. So I'm focused on why you should do I wanted to explore why we do what we do, and the right kind of motivation for us to do what we do. So first of all, some people can say to you and say, "Oh, take advice, do the right thing because that is what your mates are doing. That's what your colleagues are doing. Look at people in your age range, or maybe look at the people in your classmate. Just look at that and do the right thing because that's what they are doing." But I want to draw a point of caution here. To do that, I'm going to refer to 1 Kings chapter 12 from verse 1 to 16. The story is a story of a young king, but I'm going to read First Kings 12 from verse 1. And Rehoboam, who was just being made king at this time, Rehoboam traveled to Shechem, for all Israel had gathered in Shechem to make Rehoboam king. At, he's not going to be made king. When Jeroboam son of Nebat heard the news, he was still in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon and had been living ever since. They sent for him, and Jeroboam and the whole Israelite assembly came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, "Your father made us work too hard. Now, if you lighten the demands he made and don't make us work as hard, we will serve you." He said to them, "Go away for 3 days, then return to me." So the people went away. King Rehoboam consulted with the older advisers who had served his father Solomon when he had been alive. He asked them, "How do you advise me to answer these people?" They had said to him, "Today, if you will be a servant to these people and grant their request, speaking kind words to them, they will be your servants from this time forward." But Rehoboam rejected the advice and consulted the young advisers who served him and with whom he had grown up. He asked them, "How do you advise me to respond to these people who said to me, lessen the demands your father placed on us?" The young advisers with whom Rehoboam had grown up said to him, "Say this to these people who had said to you, 'Your father made us work hard, but now lighten our burden.' Say this to them, I am a lot harsher than my father. My father imposed heavy demands on you. I will make them even heavier. My father punished you with ordinary whips. I will punish you with whips that really sting your flesh." Jeroboam and all the people reported to Rehoboam on the third day, just as the king had ordered. When he said, "Return to me on the third day," the king responded to the people harshly. He rejected the advice of the older men and followed the advice of the younger ones. He said, "My father imposed heavy demands on you. I will make them even heavier. My father punished you with ordinary whips. I will punish you with whips that really sting that really sting your flesh." The king refused to listen to the people because the Lord was instigating this turn of events so that he might bring to pass the prophetic announcement he had made through Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam son of Nebat. When all Israel saw that the king refused to listen to them, the people answered the king, "We have no portion in Jesse, no share in the son of Jesse. We have no portion in David, no share in the son of Jesse. Return to your homes, O Israel. Now look after your own dynasty, O David." At this point we see the a serious political consequence to this decision of Rehoboam. Uh, he got the advice from his mates, those he grew up with, and if they ask him, "Oh, why are you going to respond this way to these people that have come to you?" He's going to tell you, "I am following the advice of my mates, of my colleagues who serve me, the people in my palace, people we grew up with. I'm following the advice." And look at the consequence. If you ask, that's the excuse now that Rehoboam will give you. If you ask Adam, and Adam um um you ask Adam, "Why did you eat the fruit that God asked you to give?" We know his answer. "Oh, is this a wife that you gave me that asked me to do it?" And so we are seeing motivations here now. We are seeing somebody motivated by what friends and associates are saying. We are seeing somebody motivated by what Adam motivated by what. "Oh, this is my closest associate. Who is closer to Adam than Eve? No one. This is what my wife has asked me to do, and it is you, God, that gave me this wife. So what are you even saying, God? Are you not the one that gave me a wife? Don't you want me to make my wife happy? So I have done it." But you see the consequence. We see the consequence with Rehoboam. We're seeing the consequence with of Adam. So the reason I'm talking this way is because it's not just enough to know what you should do, but you need to know why you should do what you should do, because that is the root of what you are doing. The reasoning. Why should I do what the right thing? The word of God says, "Don't eat the fruit," but you are going to don't do it. But you're going to, because you are not really, your root has not grown deep enough into why, into motivation, into having the understanding what the will of God is, not just doing the will of God, not just saying, oh, this is what God asks us to say, this is what God wants me to do. But your root needs to go deeper than just a list of things to do, to why you should do it, so that you are convinced you should do it. And whatever persuasion come along the way, we see the persuasion of Rehoboam's friends that came along the way that asked him to not do the right thing. And we see the persuasion of Eve over Adam. And we see also this persuasion of the serpent over Eve. So all these kind of persuasions can come. This one is persuading you to this. All manner of persuasions can come along your way. But you are still responsible. Remember, Rehoboam bore the consequence of disobeying God. Adam bore the consequence of disobeying God. The excuse of why is not good enough, is not unable to make us escape the consequence of obedience or lack of obedience. So, but to help us to stand really firm on the part of obedience, I'm exploring motivation now. Now, look at Rehoboam. Let's explore Rehoboam for just a bit. Rehoboam also did something very interesting. He said, I'm just going to do it because that's the way my father did it. Look at Solomon. We see Solomon as this grand person. We see it, oh, what a grand person. So I'm going to do it. Why? Because some people say, if you want to have the result that that person have, you need to do what that person did. No. No, that's not good enough motivation. That's not good enough motivation. Trying to get what the other person, trying to get the result the other person got, then trying to now go and ask the person, okay, you got this result. So what did you do to get this result? So I would do what you did, but you forgot. The times are different. That thing that person did was probably he did this in 1980, but this is 2025. The times are different. Remember, Rehoboam told the people, I'm going to do what my father did. Did you see that? I'm going to do what my father did. My father did it well. Look at Solomon. Solomon achieved great things, right? Wow. Build massive temple. Build massive palaces. Riches that, he had riches. Everybody, this was a stand-up guy. So you will be a little bit, you may want to take it easy with Rehoboam, right? And say, oh, can we really argue against the motivation of Rehoboam for trying to do it the way his father did it? Can we really try to blame him for that? That is so important. But that I'm trying to help you peel below just doing stuffs, but to dig deeper into why you are doing what you're doing. Can we dig deeper into why you're doing what you're doing? That's what I'm going to do now. Let's dig deeper. Then we can have our house on a solid ground. Start whatever motivation, wind of motivation. Paul in the book of Ephesians talks about us not being tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. That is, and that is indicative of maturity. And you're saying that is indicative of maturity. So, a wind that is going to want to push you is the wind of our fathers have this result. Our fathers did A, B, and C. Therefore, because they did A, B, and C and got this X, Y, and Z result, let me also do A, B, and C. Look at Rehoboam. It did not work out for him. So, that is that we're exploring. So, but look at Rehoboam again. Rehoboam did not follow the advice of the older men, right? So you can say, oh, good. Let me just follow the advice of the older men, and that's going to be what I need. Maybe not. So let's read 1 Kings chapter 13 from verse 6. 1 Kings 13. Just the next chapter from the Rehoboam chapter. 1 Kings 13 from verse 6. So this is a young prophet who came to prophesy against a false altar that Jeroboam has put up in Israel. And so the king responded to the prophet, seek. So there was a prophecy. He gave the prophecy. The king wanted to, said, grab him. After the young prophet gave the prophecy, the altar split into two. The ashes fell off, and so it just immediate prophetic pronouncement and immediate result. You didn't have to wait for like 2 years to see it come to pass. It happened immediately, and the king said, "Grab him." The hand of the king was frozen. The young prophet prayed for the king. The hand was restored. So let's just read from verse 16. And the king responded to the prophet, "Seek the favor of the Lord your God and pray for me, so that my hand may be restored." So the prophet sought the Lord's favor, and the king hand was restored as it was at first. The king then said to the prophet, "Come home with me and have something to eat, so that I may give you a gift." But the prophet said to the king, "Even if you were to give me half your possessions, I will not go with you. I am not allowed to eat food or drink water in this place. For this is how I was commanded in the Lord's message. Eat no food, drink no water, and do not return by the way you came." So that three different instructions here. Eat no food, instruction number one. Drink no water, and do not return by the way you came. So he started back on another road. He did not travel back on the same road he had taken to Bethel. Now there was an old prophet living in Bethel. So this is an older man now, right? When his sons came home, they told him everything the prophet had done in Bethel that day, and they told their father all the words that he had spoken to the king. Their father asked him, "Which road did he take?" His son showed him the road the prophet from Judah had taken. He then told his sons, "Saddle the donkey for me." When they had saddled the donkey for him, he mounted it and took off after the prophet, whom he found sitting under a oak tree. He asked him, "Are you the prophet from Judah?" He answered, "Yes, I am." He then said to him, "Come home with me and eat something." And you know, when you eat something, you have to drink something, right? "Come home with me and drink something." But he replied, "I can't go back with you. I am not allowed to eat food or to drink water with you in this place." So, but can you see that the king said, told the prophet, "Come, I will come. You have come home with me and have something to eat." So, do you know what the prophet did? The prophet said, "No, no, no, I'm not going to do that, because this is what God said." And that was that. See? So, that is the enemy coming with a persuasion to persuade him to move like a wind, to move that young prophet away from the right path. So that temptation came. And do you know what happened? The prophet came up victorious in that temptation. And so the deception is to think that that's going to be all, that the devil is not going to try again. But we see it coming in the form of an older prophet. The older prophet now. And so whatever, and you will see how the critical judgment, the commitment of this younger prophet to obey God, how he was moved away from that. You will see how it's played out now. So we now have this interaction, this conversation between the younger prophet and the older prophet. So you see, somebody can say, "Oh, why don't you just take the advice of the older people?" Okay, listen to me. Take the advice of the older people, but God will still judge you. God is not going to say, when you appear before God is not going to say, "Oh, you took the advice of other people. Okay, it's okay. Let's let it pass." It's not going to pass. Look at this. But he replied, "I can't go back with you. I'm not allowed to eat food or to drink water with you in this place. For an order came to me in the Lord's message: eat no food, drink no water, and do not return by the way you come." So this is like a training for this young prophet. He's going to come with a counter proposal from an older prophet. A strong, if you want to measure the wind that was now blowing against this younger prophet, the wind of the king was like a small wind, but this is a strong wind blowing strongly, that will blow strongly against this younger prophet, to move him to move away from what the right part, the right thing to do, which is doing what God said. Then the old prophet said, I too am a prophet like you. So I do you know the way I see it now? I see that this older prophet started bullying the younger prophet, saying, "What are you talking about? We have been on this prophetic journey longer than you. What are you talking about? What are you saying?" I see it as bullying. So there is this bullying. You may see it some other way, but I'm looking at it. I'm saying this old prophet is bullying this young prophet, and the old prophet said, "I too am a prophet like you. You see, I have age. I have been a prophet for like 40 years. And an angel had told me in a message from the Lord." But he was lying. He eventually says he's lying. But so this is a strong wind to push this man away from this young prophet. This is a strong test. I'm telling you. It's a strong test of coming against this younger prophet. So, and the older young prophet may want to have what do you want? We want to have the older prophet like him. Did you see that? The young prophet will want the older prophet to like him. He does not trying to. You see, young prophet still hasn't developed some rigor. He doesn't have experience, but say, "Oh, this man has experience. Why don't I just follow the instruction and the line just because of the experience?" Listen to me. Do what you want, but there are consequences, and you will see the consequence here. For an order came to me in the Lord's mercy, eat no food. So, I mean, verse 18 of 1 Kings 13. I too am a prophet like you, and an angel. I want to impress on you the implication of what is happening here. An angel. This is somebody you will trust. You will look at this young prophet with gray hair, with speaking confidently, and you won't believe he's lying. You won't believe he's lying. But he was lying. And it's sad. I too am a prophet like you, and an angel had told me in a message from the Lord. I mean, you will say, "Sheru, are you not afraid to lie like that in the name of God?" So because we think people can't lie with such confidence in the name of God, because we are so naive, like this young prophet was naive. We are so naive. We think the best of others. We think other people have the best of intentions. We have this naivety. Obviously, we're talking about a naive young prophet here. We believe gray hair. You have this gray hair. You're an older prophet. You have standing. You have a reputation. You have the people that have been doing this work before we came. Bring him back. So he said, "This is what an angel. This is not just God sending me a message. Now this is an angel. I saw an angel." I want to impress on you the kind of pressure, the kind of manipulation that is happening at this to this young prophet. I want to impress on you. And remember, the thing I'm talking about is why you do what you do. And we read from what happened to Rehoboam, who did something because that's what my father did. Now, let me just go with the trend of what has happened. Let me study history and just do what has happened in history. That is what Rehoboam did, and he failed. Let me follow my colleagues and mates and what he did, and he fell. Some other people will say, "Oh, that means let me follow the older people." That's why we're on this passage now, to dig beyond, to help us dig beyond the surface in our root of obedience to God. So, bring him back with you to your house so he can eat food and drink water. But he had lied to him. For whatever reason, we're not told why, but we just know he had lied to him. So the prophet went back with him. He ate food in his house and he drank water. While they were sitting at the table, the Lord's message came to the old prophet. This is probably the most ironic thing you will read in the Bible. Prophet lied. There was no consequence on the old prophet for lying. This prophet probably died at a good old age. listen properly. Listen to what I'm saying to you. This prophet that lied probably died in a good old age, probably feeling fine, and he also had a message from God against this young prophet after he has lied to him. I'm warning you, don't say I'm doing the wrong thing because of this person. That person you are saying you are doing the wrong thing because of that person. God may just ignore it and just allow the person to live good and live happily ever after. But not you. I'm just telling you. While he was sitting on the table, the Lord's message came to the old prophet who had brought him back. So he cried out to the prophet who had come from Judah. This is what the Lord has said. You have rebelled against the Lord's instruction. This is amazing to me. And you have not obeyed the command of the Lord your God. You are the one that tell me no, not obey. You lied to me. Now you are telling me I have not obeyed. Just listen to me. This is a test that the young prophet obviously failed, and the consequence came in immediately. It wasn't going to be next year. It wasn't going to be 3 years time. The consequence came immediately. Don't test God. Don't test God. Don't test God. You know, the devil told Jesus Christ, jump from a height. He said, the word of God. And the devil was quoting the Bible. Did you hear that? It is written, he will send his angel charge over you. The same angel. He will send his angel charge over you so that you will not dash your feet against a stone. Did you see that? The devil quotes the scripture. That was not the first attempt of the devil tempting Jesus. But it came with the scriptures now to strengthen the wind that was going to blow against Jesus' commitment to the way of God, to the will of God, to the line of God, and to the obedience to God. And he was using scriptures. The Bible says this one. But Jesus Christ said, it is written, you should not tempt the Lord your God. Don't test God. Don't say, these people are doing it, and these people are doing this thing, and it seems to be okay. That means it's okay for me to do it. Oh my goodness. You can't be more wrong for thinking that way. You cannot be more wrong. This is what the Lord had said. You have rebelled against the Lord's instruction. 1 Kings 13. And have not obeyed the command of the Lord that the Lord your God gave you. You went back. Specific. So God is not playing games. You went back. You were told, don't go back. You went back. You ate food. And you drank water in the place of which he had said to you, eat no food, drink no water, therefore your corpse will not be buried in your central tomb. Of course, this doesn't make any meaning to us at this time, corpse, because we know that the body is going to be resurrected, and we have been told that we should not be afraid of those who kill the body, who can only kill the body, but we should be afraid of God, who can kill both the body and soul in hell, in eternal fire. We have that enlightenment, but at this time, this is a serious consequence. What happens to the body was a serious consequence. That's why the burial was elaborate, was something you do deliberately and carefully at this time. But this one, you're not going to be buried in your ancestral home. It's a serious judgment. So this is what happened after he had eaten food and drunk water. The old prophet saddled the donkey for the prophet whom he had brought back. Talk about irony. Talk about, oh my goodness. The old prophet saddled the donkey for the prophet whom he had brought back. So the prophet from Judah traveled on. Then a lion attacked him on the road and killed him. Okay. Yeah. So if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to do what my mates tell me to do, be careful. I'm going to do something just because, it's just that somebody had this result. Solomon had a powerful result. I'm just going to copy and paste what he has done. Okay, be careful. Or you can say, let me listen to the older people. Be careful. Be careful. Okay, so what do I do now? Somebody will say, okay, let me just follow my heart then. Oh, be careful. Remember, we are trying to dig deep. We're trying to make sure our roots of motivation for why we do what we do. Ephesians 6:1 says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." And that's the motivation here. This is right. I'm going to read Numbers chapter 20 now. We're going to go to learn a lesson from Moses. Numbers 20 from verse 1 to 13. Numbers 20 from verse 1 says, "Then the entire community of Israel entered the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh. Miriam died and was buried there, and there was no water for the community, and so they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron. The people contended with Moses, saying, If only we had died when our brothers died before the Lord." So this is another wind coming against Moses now. So this is under pressure. It's under pressure. All these things I'm talking about, we're talking about pressure that comes. Pressure that comes. The pressure that comes. That's what I'm talking about now. We had a pressure coming. People were making demands on Jeroboam to decide what you would do. We want you to reduce our burden that your father placed on us. Reduce the burden. Don't make so much demand on us. Okay. So he couldn't stand that pressure. He fell. He did not take the right decision, and he did the wrong thing. Adam also came under a pressure from his wife, who gave him a fruit to eat. So that pressure, Adam came under that pressure from his wife. I mean, who could? This is the only two human beings on the earth at that time, Adam and Eve. So that was strong pressure too. Eve came under a pressure from the serpent. The young prophet came under a pressure from the king, and also under a pressure from the older prophet. So the young prophet withstood the pressure at one time, but the second time when the wind came again, the younger prophet did not stand against that pressure. So we are seeing Moses in this passage is under a pressure. So there was no water for the community, and so they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron. The people contended with Moses. People were contending with Moses. It was under pressure. If only we had died. So this is Moses, one man against a mob of people. That's serious pressure, I'm telling you. The people contended with Moses. If only we had died when our brother died before the Lord. Why have you brought up the Lord's community into this wilderness, so that we and our cattle should die here? Why have you brought us up from Egypt only to bring us to this dreadful place? Only to bring us to this so this prayer was strong. It is no place for grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, nor is there any water to drink. Okay? So Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the entrance to the tent of meeting. They then threw themselves down with their faces on the ground to the ground, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Take the staff and assemble the community, you and Aaron your brother, and then speak to the rock before their eyes. It will pour forth its water." So we have clear instruction here. "And you will bring water out of the rock for them, and so you will give the community and their beasts water to drink." So Moses took the staff from before the Lord, just as he had commanded him. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the community together in front of the rock and said to them, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring water out of this rock for you?" Then Moses raised his hand, struck the rock twice with his staff, and water came out abundantly. So the community drank, and their beasts drank too. So then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust me enough, you showed to show me as holy before the Israelites. Therefore, you will not bring this community into the land I have given them." So if you say follow your heart, follow your emotion, do what you feel, it didn't work out. It didn't work out for Moses. It didn't work out for Moses. Remember, why you do what you do is a layer below what you do, and the challenge is for you to consistently do the right thing. We saw it with the young prophet. Is king the king Jeroboam told him, I want you to come eat and drink. He said no, but he fell in the wrong direction eventually. Let's read Matthew 16:23 as we round up. um, the topic is motivation, and I'm trying to dig below just you saying, oh, let me just do it because I should do it. I'm trying to say that there are going to be influences that will come against you doing the right thing, and the only way, it's not enough to just know the right thing. You need to go deeper and to have the right depth of motivation for doing the right thing, and that is what I believe that you need. So Matthew 16:23. Let me just say this one again. You're going to say to yourself, oh, this is what has been done in time past. Let me just recreate what has been done. This is what we see the fathers do. And I'm saying, not necessarily mean that's what you should do. And we saw that with Rehoboam. So we see a persuasion here now from in the book of Matthew chapter 16 from verse 21. Let me read from verse 21. We see a persuasion, a wind blowing from Peter now. Peter, who is a strong associate, a very first, one of the strongest associates of Jesus at this time, his disciple, closest to one of the closest people to him. Matthew 16:21. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders. So some people will tell you, because you are suffering, that means you're not in the will of God. No, 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 no. But Jesus Christ suffered, and that suffering itself was the will of God for him. So, and he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, chief priests, and experts in the law. So we are seeing this, the elders, the chief priests, and the experts in the law. These are the people you look up to as representing God at that time. So if you're going to suffer in their hand, that means you're going to have the reputation of having been on the wrong side, because you are being opposed by people that everybody knows, everybody sees as being on the right side, right? So Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. God forbid, Lord, this must not happen to you. Then he returned. Then Jesus Christ turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to him. See that identification? Because you are not setting your mind on God's interests. This is the real motivation here. This is the depth of motivation that you need to have in you. I've setting your mind on God's interest, not what you will gain, not what people will say, not not even maybe how people will take it, but this is the will of God. This is the word of God. Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. So, what was Eve to Adam? A stumbling block. What was the serpent to Eve? A stumbling block. What was the older prophet to the younger prophet? A stumbling block. Peter now is a stumbling block. Was to Jesus. And what Jesus supposed to do? Recognize it as a stumbling block. And the only way he could do that is because he has a root of the right kind of motivation in him. And that's what you should have. Then Jesus Christ said to the disciples, if anyone wants to become my he said, let me finish that verse. You are a stumbling block to me because you are not setting your mind on God's interest, but on man's interest. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wants to become my follower, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life because of me we'll find it. I want us to pray. We're coming to the end now, but I want us to pray. It's going to be a very brief prayer. I want to pray. However, this message has come to you, however you want to cry out to God, talk to God, however you want to respond to this message, 1 minute, 2 minutes, right now, start immediately, wherever you are, however you are, 1 minute, 2 minutes. I want you to respond to this message. At the end of this class, if you want to make comments, if you want to have a reaction, you can raise up your hand and I'll allow you to talk. But I'm not going to respond. I'm going to answer any question. You're going to just talk. But 1 minute, 2 minutes. I'm not going to answer any question. You're going to just talk, comments and reaction. But 1 minute, 2 minutes. 1 minute, 2 minutes. I don't know what is out in your heart. I don't know how you want to respond. I don't know how you want to cry out to God. Uh, Based on the word you've heard. I don't know how you're going to respond to Him, but respond in the next 1 minute. And if you want to uh, sign out of this class, thank you for coming. I appreciate that, because if you're not here, I won't be able to say anything, because I won't be able to, I won't want to be speaking uh, to no one. Appreciate you for coming. God bless you.